Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.
What happened at Donald Trump's inauguration 18 months ago, and why does special counsel Robert Mueller appear to be so interested in it? Last week, ABC News's Matthew Mosk and John Santucci reported that several wealthy Russians were granted unusual access to Trump inauguration parties back in January 2017, and that Mueller was seeking to find out why. This isn't the first time we've heard of Mueller's interest in the inauguration. Back in April, CNN reported that the special counsel was investigating whether wealthy Russians illegally funneled cash donations directly or indirectly into Donald Trump's presidential campaign and inauguration, and had even questioned some oligarchs directly. These reports have broken in the months since former Trump aide Rick Gates agreed to a plea deal with Mueller's team in exchange for his cooperation. That may not be a coincidence. Gates was heavily involved in planning the inauguration, with a Yahoo News report in 2016 calling him the shadow chair of the event. Yet beyond just Russia, there have long been serious questions about the money behind Trump's inauguration, and where, exactly, it went. Trump's inaugural committee raised a truly astonishing $106.7 million, double the previous record set by Barack Obama's 2009 inaugural. But what they did with it isn't so clear. In a report for ProPublica and WNYC by Ilya Moritz earlier this year, the chair of George W. Bush's second inauguration, Greg Jenkins, said he was baffled. They had a third of the staff and a quarter of the events, and they raise at least twice as much as we did, he said. So there's the obvious question: where did it go? I don't know. Much like a typical Trump Organization project, then, his inauguration combined eye-popping sums of money and opulence with questions of financial mismanagement, corruption, and shady foreign influence. Here's a guide to the many scandals surrounding it. Tom Barrack planned Trump's inauguration, with Rick Gates's help after Donald Trump unexpectedly won the 2016 presidential election. He was tasked with setting up an inauguration that would be worthy of his name and opulent reputation. The swearing-in event itself and the surrounding security and logistics are paid for the federal government. But for all of the big parties and events before and after the swearing-in, the concert on the National Mall beforehand, dinners and events for elite supporters, and the balls on inauguration night, Trump would have to find the cash for those himself. So he'd need money, a lot of money. It's not unusual for presidents to raise money for this purpose. Most recently, Barack Obama raised about $53 million for his first inauguration, and $43 million for his second. Trump decided to follow suit. Rather than fund the inauguration himself, the wealthiest president-elect ever decided to follow his predecessor's lead and raise the cash from billionaires, wealthy financiers, and corporations. Alex Wong/Getty Images. So a week after the election, Trump named a murderer's row of uber-rich Republicans as finance vice chairs for the event. They included casino billionaires Sheldon Adelson and Steve Wynn, the latter of whom was later accused of sexually abusing employees, defense contractor Elliot Broidy, later involved in hush money payments to a Playboy model, and Anthony Scaramucci, later White House communications director for 10 days before resigning over an obscene interview with The New Yorker. The man in charge of it all, as chair of the inaugural committee, was Tom Barrack, a billionaire real estate investor who's been a close friend of Trump for decades. Barrack's business interests have recently been concentrated in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. The Washington Post's Michael Kranish and the New York Times's David Kirkpatrick have both written excellent profiles of him. His goal, he said, was for the inauguration to have soft sensuality and a poetic cadence. To help with the planning and fundraising, Barrack turned to a Trump campaign aide Rick Gates, the longtime right-hand man to Paul Manafort. Barrack had known Manafort since the 1970s and helped convince Trump to bring him onto the campaign. Even at the time, the choice raised eyebrows, since Manafort had been ousted from the campaign after scandal-laden stories about his work for pro-Russian politicians in Ukraine. But, according to a November 2016 report by Michael Isikoff of Yahoo News, Gates became instrumental in fundraising and planning. Isikoff quoted a source calling Gates the shadow chair of the inauguration and Barrack's chief deputy. Trump's inauguration raised